गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Repeat after me. मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानम् मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानम् वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसदृषिगणैः आवृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसदृषिगणैः आवृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दमूर्तिम् आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दमूर्तिं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिमीढे स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिमीढे Sri Dakshinamurti Mide. All are here. Good. Can you hear, Louis? Catherine, you can come here and take one copy of the text.
Here?
Yeah, those sheets.
Thank you.
Okay. So salutations. As we said yesterday, that this text has been written by Adi Shankaracharya, and the actual text begins only after these first 7 verses. These 7 verses are dhyana shlokas. These dhyana shlokas are not the proper body of the text. Just like we read Bhagavad Gita, the entire Bhagavad Gita, Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, it begins. But you have heard of the Dhyana Shlokas of Bhagavad Gita? Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam. And it goes on. But where are they from? They are not from Bhagavad Gita. So where are they from? They are from different parts of different scriptures. It has been taken so that we first meditate upon this Lord Krishna, who is the teacher there, so that we surrender, we become focused, we become available, we have reverence. Until and unless we do not have the reverential attitude in our heart and mind, till then knowledge does not take place. Same thing you must have understood when you were in school. When did the knowledge take place? Which teacher you liked? Whatever. When teacher is teaching. Some people are interested in history, some people are interested in mathematics, some people are interested in surgery. So which one? Teacher is teaching everything, whatever their subject is. But each one is available. Where is your attention? If your attention is on relation and positions, you will find, all this chanting Om, I can have more relations and more positions. But same Om, if you are chanting and meditating upon, you can be body disidentified. I'll practice yoga. I'll control my senses. I'll control my mind. Some people will approach it that way. Using Om as support, they will focus on something. But there are people, some seekers, they will listen and they will focus on the Supreme Reality. Some people will focus on Supreme Reality objectively. There are some very few people who will listen to the words and become available to the subjective self. Now, it is up to each one of us. This we cannot, I cannot catch your neck and say, open your mouth like my mother does to the child. Krishna, what do you, open your mouth, and she pushes the spoon in. He has got no choice. And if she knows, she'll catch him, or the husband will catch her, and then they will put it into his mouth. But here it is not like that. This knowledge is not like that. So we all, the point that I'm trying to make is that this, to grasp this knowledge, to discover this knowledge as the self, a special condition, a special approach, not from my side. The approach is from each one of us who are seeking. I'm not trying to teach, I'm only trying to discover. You are also not trying to listen, you are also trying to discover. And where do you discover? Not in this person, not in the words, but within yourself, like we did in meditation. You take the support of the body and you dive back into the self. You take the support of the breath, you come back to the self. And tomorrow we'll do with mind and intellect and whatever else is there. So point is this: how many times during the day are we able to remember the conscious presence that we are? This is the job of the teacher can communicate. Teacher here is not guru, here teacher is acharya. That word will come now in this verse. Acharya's job is to communicate. Like in Kenopanishad it said, the student said, when I asked you what is inspiring everything, the pranas, the senses, the mind, the teacher says, oh, what is inspiring? Oh, Brahman it is the pranas of the prana, it is the eye of the eye, it is the ear of the ear, it is the mind of the mind. He says, sir, why you are confusing me further? Why can't you answer in a straight way? He says, I cannot explain anymore. This is what my teacher taught me and I had to work it out myself. And what is the working out? That while working out, you disappear. The one who is trying to work out disappears. You are trying to work out that I want to go to sleep, but while that approach is there, the one who is trying to sleep disappears, isn't it? When you are desiring breakfast, the one who was desiring the breakfast, the desirer disappears. Same way, the one who is listening and the one who is talking, both must disappear while this communication is taking place. Not one day, right here and now. While speaking, the speaker must disappear. While listening, the listener must disappear. While thinking, the thinker must disappear. Then what happens? Mirror reflecting the mirror. Because there's no personality there then. There's no individuality there. And what happens when mirror is faced with a mirror? This is the first verse of the Dakshinamurti. What happens when mirror is facing the mirror? Infinite reflections. What is that infinite reflections? That is the Vishwam. That is the entire creation. That is the entire creation. With no one to say, own or reject or accept or retain the memory of. It is the entire. What will the mirror say? Whose expanse is it? No words will there. See? Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari. That will come. So here the teacher is the Dakshinamurti, and I offer my salutations to the Sri Dakshinamurti, and he is the Adi Guru. He teaches without teaching. He has no form, yet we have given him a form. Why? Because we don't have the intelligence, we don't have a mindset where we can think of the formless. We can't think. You say, yeah, I think. What do you think? Yeah, I know there is space. But are you able to think of space? Or are you thinking of forms? And what you call as space is absence of forms. But someone says, tell the space. Oh, what is the space? Yeah, this is space. So when I say these two fingers, this is one finger, this is other finger. What is in between? There is no finger. No finger. That no finger is called space. But what is space, you cannot say. Same way it is here also. Dakshinamurti Maharaj, he is going to teach without teaching. He is a teacher. We saw Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Parantam Vande Guru Paramparam. We are following a parampara, we are following a lineage, we are following a particular method of exposition which has come from from Sadashiva to Dakshinamurti to Shankaracharya and through the lineage to us. But who is Dakshinamurti? Whom did he get it from? We have a teacher-student relationship. I can say, yesterday we talked that I got it from my teacher, he got it from his teacher, he got it from his teacher. That's how the knowledge is being passed on. But whom did the Dakshinamurti get the knowledge from? Who was his teacher? He is a guru-less teacher. This we have to recognize in our heart. That we are, and what is guru-less teacher? When you discover the teacher, the guru, the acharya, the atma, the self, the Brahman, the God, the Ishvara as the self. How do you recognize it as the self? Without a thought. See. So what is happening? Right now, there is duality. And the approach is that from duality, we are in every interaction with duality, we are landing back into the unifying principle. In fact, unifying principle at the mental level, but here it is Dakshinamurti. He is even beyond the totality principle. And he did not learn it from anyone. So, is he an avatar? No. Then who is he? He is the Adi Guru. Adi Guru means the first teacher, the beginningless teacher. We can say that way, beginningless teacher. Beginningless teacher means there was no teacher before that. We are part of the parampara. Asma Acharya Parantam Vande Guru Paramparam. But he has got no parampara. Then where is he beginning? Where is the parampara beginning? Parampara is beginning from him. Now, when you think, oh, Dakshinamurti, fantastic, this, that, and we go to temple, in temples also Dakshinamurti statue is there, so many places, and we start surrendering to the statue, it is okay. We salute to Narayana, we salute to Shiva, we salute to Ganapati, it's okay. But better is, while we are saluting, we become available to the conscious principle within, so that we recognize that Dakshinamurti is expressing as the self within. So who is the Adi Guru now? The self is the Adi Guru. Is there anyone to say I am the Adi Guru? No. Who is saying Adi Guru is Dakshinamurti? Is Dakshinamurti saying it? No. Then who is saying it is Adi Guru? Those who are other than Dakshinamurti, that is us. We are saying that he is Adi Guru for our understanding. But Adiguru is, Dakshinamurti is not saying that I am Adiguru. He is just remaining silent. He is just remaining himself. See? Now again, we'll continue. I will see how it all goes. And what is his method of teaching? That he reveals the Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam. His method of teaching is Parabrahma Tattvam. And what does Tattva mean? Tattva means the essence. Tattva means the reality. You know Tattvamasi? Not Tattvamasi. No. Tattvamasi. Tattva is the essence. Tattva is the reality. Tattva is the truth. Tattva is the existence, which is the reality of everything that is there in this creation. Very, very simply put, I am, you are, everyone is, isn't it? This table is, this laptop is, this book is, this lamp is, this laptop is, this phone is, you are, the world is. So what is the commonness in all this? We have changed the names. The laptop has replaced people, people has replaced the world has replaced the book, book is replaced the lamp. But what is the commonness? The commonness is the isness. That isness is the tattva. See? That is the tattva. And that, do you have the eye to see that? Are you available to that tattva? Morning meditation, yesterday's talk, where are we searching for that tattva? Outside. Is it possible for you to search it? It will never come to a conclusion. You will be frustrated. What will be the result? Slowly, the numbers will dwindle. This retreat you are there and say, oh my God, what was this? He spoke so much but about nothing and everything. He spoke about nothing and everything. So what was this? I think this is not my cup of tea. Some people may decide that way. Some people say, no, but it was something. I enjoyed it. So enjoyed it means I enjoyed the objective interaction with this information. Some moments of bliss, some moments of confusion, but it was an enjoyable experience. Some people will say, oh, it was divine, it was transcendental, it was fantastic. So all this is what is it showing? It is showing your own availability, nothing else. So this Parabrahma Tattvam, which is this knowledge, which is the teaching that he is giving is of the Parabrahma Tattvam. Para means that which is beyond, that which is transcendental. Brahman means that which is greater than the greatest. Tattva means that greater than the greatest. Brahman, Brahatat Brahman. That greater than the greatest is the ever existing principle. It is the core of everything. It is the circle without a circumference. It is Purnamada Purnamidam. Apart from it, nothing else exists. That is the Parabrahma Tattva. And that Tattva, what is the Tattva of earth? What is the essence of earth? See, another way of putting it is, essence means that without which a thing is not a thing. So what is that without which the sun will not be sun? Heat and light. If there is no heat and light, can you call it a sun? No. What is that without which moon will not be a moon? Again, light and coolness. What will be that without which you will not be you? Find out, not word-wise. Yes, I'm asking questions, so you are answering. But it should not come from here. While the mouth is blurting out that answer, self, be that. Be that. See? Parabrahma Tattvam. And this is his method of teaching, and it is the it is other than this. Brahman is other than the absence. It is other than the nothingness. It is other than the void. When everything is taken away from your cognition, what is left behind? Nothing. And what is Brahman? It is the source, it is the essence of nothing also, because it is your experience. When there is nothing, you still are. See? So this method of teaching, and what it will continue, the whole verse is Maunam. So we have come to Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvana, and this Brahman, you are a product, or you feel you are a product of Desha Kala Vastu. You are conditioned by time, space, and objectivity. Therefore, you call yourself an individual. Can you think of yourself that I am not this body? Only in meditation. For short duration of time. See? But what about while walking, talking? What about while walking, talking? What about while eating upma? I am Brahman. Oh, we chanted Brahma Arpanam Brahmavi, Brahmagnav Brahmanahudam. Brahman is eating Brahman, Brahman is picking Brahman, Brahman is putting into the mouth of Brahman. The Brahman hand is putting the Brahman food into the mouth, which is Brahman, and it is digested by the digestive fire, which is Brahman, and it comes out as Brahman also. Brahman eating Brahman. Was this thought going on that time? No. Oh, so tasty. I think after that I am going to have second round. Let me check if anything is left. Okay. So this alertness which is absent in us at this moment, this has to be invoked. Which got invoked when you were in meditation, to some extent. But it has to be honed in, it has to be refined, it has to be, refined ही word है. It has to be refined. Refinement means where all impurities are removed. Impurities are impurities of objectivity, impurities of change. That has to be removed. And there, in meditation, you had the idea, oh, it's meditation. Something is going to happen. And you become available. And you come and sit here and you are listening because you are available to meditation. You are listening. And the words were directing you to drop, let go, grow out of the body. How do you grow out of the body? Watch the body is still, not moving, unshaking. By yourself, you will never think about this. I am the self, I am the self. And the leg is shaking 100 kilometers per second. Or you are not the breath, I am the observer of the breath. But you must have also noticed, every now and then, the mind will just go into some imagination. And suddenly I'll say something and again it will come back. So here it is happening under guidance. We have to come to a point where we are self-sufficient. At a drop of a hat, we are in meditation. At a drop, and the moment you come out of meditation, without any lag, without any rollover effect. What is rollover effect? Don't disturb me, it was wonderful meditation. Let it, I'm in the zone, let it continue for some time. he feels that we have all spoken in that way, isn't it? This is lag. What should be the way? The moment you come out of meditation, whatever life is presenting you, what life presented you? Breakfast. 100% into breakfast. Then after 100% into walking, then 100% in satsang, then 100% in sleeping. Every moment is a heightened living. That heightened living is only possible when we are living 100%. Living 100% means allowing the life to express through us 100%. Allowing the life to express through us 100% means that there is no corruption between inside and the outside. What is the corruption between the inside and the outside? What is the corruption? What is the dirt? Thoughts, yes. Thoughts, emotions, concepts, ideas, imaginations. Breath is also an imagination, body is also an imagination. So whatever thoughts. So if you are standing in front of the mirror, again I'm going into, see, it's automatic. First verse, I don't want to go there. Keep pulling me there. When we are in front of the mirror, if there is dirt, like today, yesterday or today, the steam, the hot water was hot and the exhaust was not very strong, so the mirror got covered a bit with the steam, and suddenly I could, when I saw myself, who is this? Because I could not see myself clearly. Then what did I do? Cleaned it up. Similarly, what is that anomaly? No, not anomaly. What is that dirt? Keep a simple word. What is that dirt which is coming between inside and outside, which is creating the distance where there is no distance? See? This is maturity. This is wisdom. When you work towards that. And how do you work towards that? You are trying to remove the dirt between inside and outside. That dirt itself is imaginary. It can only be removed by not thinking of the dirt. Unlike mirror, where you can take a cloth and wipe it, here you don't try to wipe the mind. Very simple way of removing the dirt is being to surrender, to have devotion. And therefore, Sri Dakshinamurti Midhe, to that formless form, of Dakshinamurti, who is the first teacher, my salutations. See? And where is he? He is within me. What is the job of a teacher? What is the job of a teacher or guru or acharya or a mahatma who is teaching? To inspire you to see that the reality is you. Everything is included in you. And how do you do that? To imagine, oh, this wall is also me. My God, carrying too much weight of all the bricks on the top. Then you will become a brick, Jada Samadhi. So what do we have to recognize? We have to how do we do it? We have devotion towards the teacher, Acharya. We have devotion towards, surrender towards the altar of Dakshinamurti. He is the first Acharya. And what is the process? Discover him in your heart. That is what devotion teaches you. You discover the Lord in your heart. You discover the principle in yourself. So you discover the Lord in your heart. The moment you discover the Lord in your heart, you are available. Because the moment you become focused on, become available to the Dakshinamurti, the formless form, You are thinking of it, yet you are not thinking of it because you are it subjectively. In that process of contemplation, the process of sadhana is Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, listening, reflecting, and meditating, contemplating. Listening is as you are, but I'm again and again in every class I am repeating, while listening, don't your attention must be on the subjective self. Then true listening is taking place. Reflecting means still if there are some doubts left, you don't give heed to those doubts. Either have complete faith that these doubts will find their own solution because I didn't create the doubts, I'm watching the doubts appear, so they will disappear also. But if you are thinking, then when you are not meditating all the time, so other time you become available. अच्छा इसका मतलब क्या है? You know. Yesterday I was, before coming here in the morning, yesterday's talk I was trying to upload, and the program which I have, which converts the MOV file into MP4 file for YouTube, it crashed. I don't know, maybe it's a new computer, so it didn't work. Then I called Stanton. And the moment I called him, but in the night I have to get on top of this, otherwise I have got the whole retreat in front of me. So I was seeing which is a program which is freely available. I don't want to pay. Huh? And I found it, and I did the thing, converted it. Why did I find it? Because I was available to finding, isn't it? Because I was available to finding. Have you ever noticed that if you have sometimes I got a problem with the phone, but the moment I asked this girl who's staying with us, she's in Apple, the moment I call her, hey, can you just help me with this? And that moment, that problem solves itself. I call Stanton, he comes, and he says the solution that you found is the best one. The converter which you found is the best one. So his trip was wasted. But he had breakfast and went. Huh? So when you call an electrician, the bulb starts working, or the machine. This is what happens when a Guru Maharaj comes in front of you, or you become available to the divine principle. Everything comes back to its original state. Everything becomes reset. Everything becomes reset. This is the system. So in this way, that Parabrahma Tattvam, this Tattva which is Brahman is limitless, and it does not have any particular attribute, and the one which does not have any quality or attribute, what is it called? Nirgunam. Nirgunam means attribute-less, formless. That is this, just like example, space has got no form. Space has got no form. Look outside. Oh, what we say, oh, north, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. These are directions which you have created by your own mind. But actually, from space's point of view, there is no directions. So, space is formless and qualityless. We call it, what is the other word for space? Emptiness. How can emptiness have any quality? Yet our Sanskrit language has given it a beautiful, that which accommodates all that which is not is space. All that space is that which accommodates. Avkashat iti akash. Avkash means giving the space to accommodate. So this is the space for this satsang room. So it is called. So what is space? It is accommodating the entire universe. It is accommodating the entire phenomena of the universe. And what is a phenomena? which does not exist. Keep thinking. And therefore, this space is timeless, spaceless, attributeless. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyomanna. See, and this Brahman is Prakatita. Prakatita means revealed. Revelation. What was the revelation? He's missing. Only the nails are left. There used to be a statue there. It's gone. Pardon me?
He rose on Easter Sunday.
Today, no, Easter Sunday was, he forgot that he had to come back on Monday. Next year, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he realized Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. He became one with the Holy Ghost. He dropped the form, he dropped the totality. The Son is the form, the individuality. The totality is the Father, and Brahman is the Holy Ghost. No more rebirth. So what is Easter Sunday? Rebirth. He died and he came back. Now he realized. Jivan Mukta Purush. Jivan Mukta Purush. क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पे एक था, there was a statue also, that mother is there. So Prakatita means that which is revealed, and what is revealed? That which is taught by the Guru, the Adi Guru, Dakshinamurti. Where is it revealed? Where is it revealed? Inside, yes, within, as the self. It is not revealed outside. And this way, and how did he teach? He taught by Vyakhya, Vyasa, Veda Vyasa. Vyasa means the one who expanded the Vedas. Vyakhya, through explanation, through exposition. What am I doing? I am also taking one word which is having one meaning which you have. I am taking those words and explaining it further. So, for example, when we were in school, the teacher told us E is equal to mc square, or Pythagoras theorem. But that was just Pythagoras theorem, whatever the equation was, I can't remember. But I didn't understand. Then he has to explain what each one stands for. What is the hypotenuse? What is the angle? What does angle mean? What does the sum mean? Or whatever is involved in that. What does E mean? What does M mean? What does C mean? What does square mean? What does equal to mean? He is teaching, but you have to discover it within your head. And how do you discover it? By doing many examples, many exercises. They give you the exercise and you keep doing, and slowly that principle, that equation, you learn how to apply it in the what do you call them here? Exercises that are presented to you by the books, by the teacher, whatever. You have to. So what is being presented to you? Life is presenting to you every moment. It's a continuous test. And what you have to discover? What you have to reveal? You have to reveal the truth every moment. So here you are being taught, he is teaching, but the revelation is in the heart of the seeker. See, everything, every word of the entire this verse is the attribute of that attributeless. It is talking about that which cannot be talked about. And that's you. So how does he explain? How does he teach? He teaches as Vyakhya. He teaches as Vyakhya. Vya means explanation, expansion. And how does he do that? He does that explanation. Again, explanation will be, I am explaining how am I doing it? I don't know how am I doing it, but I'm using too many words. Right? Shankaracharya used only few words. I am using so many words for one word. And how is Dakshinamurti teaching? What is his expansion? Is it expansion of words? No, his expansion is through silence. Without saying anything, he is saying everything. How is that happening? Suppose someone is going outside and I tell, hey, where are you going? Suppose the retreat is over, someone is going and you say, where are you going? What was your question? Where are you going? What the driver answers? Come, I'll drop you wherever you want to go. Wherever you want to go. But you asked, where are you going? Did you get the answer to your question? No. What was the answer? Come, I'll drop you. Totally, hey, pagal hai kya? Are you mad? I asked some question, you didn't answer where you are going. You are telling instead, I'll drop you. So what was implied? He understood what the person was asking. So this is the way. This is the way you have to understand. I am speaking, blabbering away. You have to understand what is being communicated here. See? And that communication is only possible when you are available to the silence within, to the Dakshinamurti within. How to be available to the Dakshinamurti? The principle is being expounded here through the Maunam Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. Maunam Vyakhya. He cannot communicate. In silence, we cannot communicate anything. See, our grandfather was there. When he used to come back from work, everyone will be silent. So much activity is going on in the house. In some people, in every house it does not happen, but some people have that type of presence. That the moment they enter into one room, everything becomes quiet. Some people become quiet out of fear of that person. Here we come in, chicken farm is going on. The moment, Om, silent. Or if I just become here, I keep looking here, and then automatically everyone will settle down. Because they know it's time to, let's grace Swamiji by silence. That's why. Not, you see. So he has not uttered any word about Brahman. Therefore, he is silent, and only through the implied meaning. Implied meaning is through the what do you call? See, through the implication, through this method of implication. Something is said, something is not said. This is what I was mentioning yesterday also. And what is that? When we are in the presence of masters, our mind becomes naturally quiet. Many times before Swamiji comes, or when I have come across many Mahatmas, I go, oh, I'm going to ask this, I'm going to ask that, I'm going to. But when you come in their presence, you are not interested in that question only. Then where is that question? I thought I had a question. It was so important, it was so deep, and you are so proud that you could think of that question. But when you come in front of it, the question itself dissolves away. Like when you come in front of the teacher, of the fire, the cold dissolves away. When you come in the presence of the teacher, the questions, the doubts, that anyway, that will come afterwards. That it all dissolves away. And so here, when so this Brahman, which he is expounding, and how is he expounding? Expounding through silence. And this silence we have to discover within ourselves. This is the X factor. And we are not talking about the silence which is opposing sound. We are not talking about the silence which is manifestation, unmanifestation. We are not talking about the sign which is, oh, the mind is going good, and then it becomes silent. We are not talking about that silence. We are talking about that silence which is full awareness, which is continuous, Taila Dharavat, which has got no beginning and end, and which is not other than I. That silence we have to discover. In school, our Swamiji gave one teacher. One student went and asked the teacher was teaching. 2 plus 1. What is 2 plus 1? 3. 3 plus 1? 4. 2 plus 2? 4. And it went on like this. Then he goes, now you understood everyone? Yes, we understood. Now I'm going to give you a test and you have to answer. And she said, 5 plus 4. All the students looked at each other. 2 plus 2 ठीक था, 2 plus 1 ठीक था, suddenly 5 plus 4. They said, teacher, you did all easy ones yourself and difficult one you gave to us. Same is our situation. You talked the easy stuff. The difficult thing that we have to discover our own reality, that you left for us. See? So in this way, even in spite of the Parabrahma Tattvam, when this Tattva, Maunam Vyakhyanam, as this Parabrahma Tattva is being expounded, is being explained through silence, this we have to discover. This silence we have to discover. This silence you can discover. See, how do you discover the silence? It will come afterwards. Muditam, Anandam Muditam. Anyway, I'll leave that point when we get to that point. So, when we were talking about everything exists, what is that which is continuously existing? Objects are changing, thoughts are changing, breath is changing, seasons are changing, years are changing, childhood, teenage, youth is changing, sounds are changing, smells are changing. In the morning we were cold, now we are hot. It is changing. But what has not changed? The self has not changed. That self itself is the infinite principle, that self itself is the Brahman. This we have to discover within ourselves. What has changed? All objectivity has changed. All objects of the world have changed. All experiences have changed. But have I changed? If you take yourself with reference to this body, yes, then you will feel I have changed. But here we are talking about what? Silence. So, what is that which is the unchanging principle in spite of change or no change? We have to discover that. That we have to allow it to be revealed. Can you catch the sleep? Come, I'm going to take you, I'm going to devour you now. Can you catch sleep? Or sleep has to catch you? Sleep has to catch you. But for sleep to catch you, what do you have to do? You have to think of sleep. You have to be available to sleep. And then a point comes where the sleep catches. And because of your ego trip, you say, I surrendered. You say, I slept. You couldn't sleep. The waker cannot go to sleep. Same, exactly the same process. Exactly the same process. I keep becoming available to that silence, keep becoming available to that constant principle, which is undisturbed in spite of the mind manifesting and unmanifesting, in spite of experiences or no experiences, in spite of objectivity or no objectivity. And this is possible when? After Dakshinamurti Stotram. Right here and now. Right here and now means what? In the moment. That means we have to be with every, while the words are, why are we speaking so much? To keep you awake. Both ways it will work. For some it will work to keep you awake. For some it will work to silence their mind. So if you are awake to the words single pointedly, you are alert inside to what the words are indicating. For some, the words, only words. Mind becomes silent because they are not interested in words. But if they have caught the principle, the constant principle, if their attention is on the constant principle, then automatically the words will become silent in their mind. The mind will become quiet. Even though the words are coming, the mind will become quiet. Now, some people are in this orientation, some people are in the other way. What is this basis? What is this constant principle? Dakshinamurti, it's unaffected by both. It's unaffected by both. So you have to recognize that within yourself. And this way, so there is only one thing, there is only one electricity, there is only one, whether light is there or no there. Whether day is there or night is there, sun is only one. Whether there is waking dream or deep sleep, there is only one self. Whether there are thoughts or no thoughts, there is only one self. Come to this conclusion within yourself. Nobody can help you with that. And this is brought about by two ways. One is, we are told, the typical Vedantic approach is, one is the what is it called? Neti. How do you come to that silence? Neti. That's what we were doing today in the meditation. What did we do? I am not the world. Then who am I? I'm the body. I'm not the body. Then who am I? I am the breath. I am not the breath. Then who am I? I am the mind. I am not the mind. Then who am I? I am the intellect. I am not the intellect. Then who am I? I am the jiva. I am not the jiva. Then who am I? I am the reflected consciousness. You come back to the source. But today what we did? Who knows the world? I am not interested in the world. I am the body. I look at the body. Who knows the body? I. and I remain undisturbed by the body. Then I come to the breath. I am not the breath. Either you do it as an first, you must have heard this statement many times, I am not the body, I am not the breath, I am not the mind, etc. But have we experienced it directly? Have we worked towards it? Or we are wishing that one day someone will come and touch our head and they will say, oh, you are realized now. Someone will come and kataksha netra. In all devotion and all this, it happens. If the Lord looks from the corner of his eye, Kundalini rises. Many years ago, before I went to the ashram, I am going to ashram in March, and in December, Ammachi came. So I went to her. She was in near Mall 1 somewhere, some place. She used to have few hundred, maybe 1,000 people maximum, not even that. And I went there, spent the whole day. Oh, Mahatma, first time I was meeting her. And I wanted to, and I was doing my sadhana at that time. She said, she hugged, she said, come sit there. I sat there and I was in meditation, open-eyed meditation on her. And every now and then she will look from the corner of her eye. And every time she looked at me, I used to feel a thrill go through my body. And then after about 3-4 hours, she sent someone, call him. This is at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I went, she told, I said, tell. I said, Amma, I'm going to the course, I need your Ashirwad. I need your Ashirwad. She says, okay, go. So she said in Malayalam, I didn't understand, someone translated. She said, okay, but don't be like a crow. What does a crow do? Huh? Kong kong. He does kong kong. The crow doesn't complete, crow, cockatoos, all birds like this, they never eat anything completely. चोंच मारते हैं, छोड़ देते हैं. They peck at it and they don't eat it. So that was her message. Don't peck when you go to ashram, delve into it 100%. See, we are still pecking. See. So I want the blessings. We must collect blessings. And why we are collecting blessings? Because we have given a status of importance to that person, isn't it? Because we are seeing that person as a form. Our attention is not on the consciousness. I want blessings from outside. Then naturally realization will also come from outside. That is my belief. So you look at me, you touch me, you bless me. As long as so now someone said, let's go to India for pilgrimage. Why? We won't do. Because we feel something has to be done. There's nothing wrong in doing all this. But where are we in and through all this? That is important. So, similarly, those who have met Darga Swami, you have met Darga Swami, you have met. And Darga Swami, when I met him first time in 1998, after studies in the ashram, we had gone to Kadapa. He just looked at me, and he looked at me. We were very young that time. I also looked at him. He didn't blink his eye. I didn't blink my eye. He's sitting in the door there to his wife's samadhi. That time his wife was there. That time no samadhi. He's sitting there. Tea is lying on next to him, and he's looking at me. I am also looking. I also didn't blink. But within those few minutes of direct contact, and in that direct contact and no blinking, I kept becoming available, or these things happened. I was just observing that this is happening. And the spine, I was sitting like this, suddenly it became straight. It became even more straight. It came to a point where it started hurting. After. And then what? Others were observing what happened to this. He was a coiled snake, now he's become straight. Kundalini जग गई क्या? हाँ? एकदम से खटाक करके खड़ा हो गया. And they're watching. Oh, you are blessed, you are blessed, you are blessed. But that time my attention was, Yari, I'm observing all this is going on in my body. I'm observing this is going. Eyes are open. Attention is on the self at that time. How long it lasted? Some time after it gone. Because it was outsourced. It was outsourced. You have to discover it has to be insourced. And in this manner, then the neti neti means I am not this body, I am not this. So in meditation, what we did was, I am not the body by making the body silent, observing it. But instead, what is the cause of it? Natural step-by-step process will be what is subtler than the body? The breath. But here what did we do in meditation? Instead of going to breath, we know it is there. But we didn't give that breath more importance. We said no. Who is observer of the breath? I am. We came back to the conscious principle. Then next level was breath. We know that their breath is there. Then we looked at the breath, silenced it, allowed it to come to calm. And who is observing it? I am. This I am before and this I am with reference to breath. This I am with reference to mind. This I am with reference to thoughts. Is the same I am. So we are again and again coming back to the conscious principle. See? Neti neti. I am not the world, I am not the mind, I am not the body, I am not the breath, I am not the mind, not the intellect. So, not, neti neti neti. We are discarding what we are not. In other words, we are discarding what is changing. And coming to realize, recognize that this observer is the changeless principle. And that changeless principle, I am. Don't have doubt about it. No, there's no but. Think coolly. Body was changing, breath was changing, senses were changing, thoughts were changing, concepts were changing, but the knower of all this, the observer of all this, the witness of all this, the one who was aware or conscious of all these different phenomena of coming and going, of change, he is the constant. He has not changed. You are the seer, you are the hearer, you are the toucher, you are the taster, you are the thinker, you are the waker, you are the dreamer, you are the sleeper. All these are different changes. But do you feel you are all different ones or you are the constant one? When you take a deep breath and sit quietly, you feel or you come to this conclusion that I am the continuous one in spite of the change. This has to be recognized. You have to be that one again and again and again and again and again. But the moment a phone call comes from your child, or the phone call comes from your husband, or the phone call comes from your wife, immediately we lose the plot. Immediately we lose the plot because we have invested in that objectivity so much. See? So the one who is negating, the negator, he is the continuous one. And a point will come when he has negated everything and there is nothing to negate. Neti neti is negation. Not. So when there is nothing to negate, then what will happen to the negator? Does, if the seer is there, seer, he is seeing. If there is nothing to see, what will happen to the seer? Goes inside. Kahan? If you, here we are, so much variety, so many smiling faces, serious faces, smiling, all different type of emotions. Confused faces, blissful faces. Huh? But you come here in the middle of the night, we put the light on, we are all looking at each other, lights are off, there is no natural light available here. Pitch dark, nothing to see, nothing to objectify, no forms available to you. Are you still seeing? Are you still seeing? Yes and no. What are you seeing? Nothing, darkness. But is that darkness an object of contemplation? Can you see darkness? No. But you are still there. So in that pitch darkness, the one who is there is the one. But in your mind, you come to wrong conclusions. There are thousands of techniques which you are practicing on a daily basis. All it needs is a different shift, a different connotation has to be given to it, because no sadhana in our scriptures is given which you are not already not practicing. It is not happening in your life. None of it. Just now someone said, Swamiji, in the meditation it was so wonderful and my body was still, and when you said it is heavy, it became heavy. When you said it is light, it became light. And then it was thrilling, shaking. What was happening? I said, doesn't this happen to you when you go to sleep? Sometimes the body becomes very heavy while going to sleep. Sometimes the body becomes very light. Sometimes when you are sleeping, suddenly a waft of cold comes and again you go. Hota hai na? The thrill came, nobody was there. So all these are happening, yet you find a way to surrender to sleep. Then why we are making this experience into an important experience? Why? Because we have come to satsang. In sleep, while going to sleep, we didn't make it important. Why do we make this thrill? Why do we make this heaviness? Why do we make this lightness important? Don't make it important. Observe, give zero value. Same thing with the mind also. Mind will keep thinking while going to sleep. So many thoughts come, unwanted thoughts come. But you still manage to go to sleep every night, isn't it? Same thing in meditation also. So many thoughts come. Till when? Till you don't learn the technique of negotiating through it. Till you don't become convinced of some higher thought, till then they will come and disturb. Once you are retired, yesterday, day before yesterday, I told you, yesterday I went to someone's marriage and then to funeral. He came with a chocolate. Swamiji, aapke naam, uske ऊपर लिखा Swamiji, chocolate. Deo bhai. And then he was talking. He said, I am retired now. I said, Acha, very good. Now you got all time. What time, Swamiji? I am becoming forgetful. And he was at a very good position in one of the manufacturing companies. General manager or something. He says, but first few weeks, everyone used to say, hello sir, how sir, they will inquire about you. And but now it's been more than for first 3-4 months, once or twice the colleagues who were so close to me, they used to call. Now it's 1 year, nobody even thinks of, they don't even know if I am existing or not. So what are you doing? No, that's why I'm becoming forgetful. I don't have a purpose. Then what did you do? I motivated my son who was married to have a child. Then what did you do? Now I'm playing with the child and spoiling him. That is the motivation. Other times, what do you do? Oh, I study scriptures. I said, I know him for 30 years now. I said, you know, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. They say you should listen to the scriptures, not study the scriptures. No, I want to know it my way. I said, you will lose your mind your way only. I thought this, I didn't tell him that. We should never study scriptures, we should always listen to scriptures. And after listening, then you can, once you have got the correct orientation of approach towards a particular verse or towards a particular thought, then you go and delve in it. But if you go with wrong orientation, you will come to wrong conclusions. And then to undo that, we have some example here. What is that? If you have learned something, someone who is playing tabla, if he has learned it wrong, the teacher finds it very difficult to make that student undo that wrong. So new students, 10 rupees per class. Those who have already learned, 100 rupees per class. Why this discrimination? This discrimination because I have to work harder at making you undo what you have learned and then teach you. See? And therefore, do this service to yourself, and that is approach, study any text. Any text you want to study, don't make it into an intellectual, what do you call? Intellectual itch, khujli. Don't make it an intellectual itch. Instead, listen to some master who is explaining. YouTube पे इतने सारे मिलते हैं. Listen to them, and then if you have the text, you read it, and the conclusion should be only one. I am the constant one. I think we'll time हो गया. कितने बजे शुरू किया था? We'll conclude here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. We'll chant this together. Mauna Vyakhya. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam Varshishthante Vasat Rishiganaihi Avrutam Brahmanishthaihi Acharyendram Karakalita Mudramanandamurtim Swatma Ramam Mudita Vadanam Shri Dakshinamurti Mide. Shri Dakshinamurti Mide. There Shri is missing. That comes in our Chinmay Mission book, but it sounds nicer. Shri Dakshinamurti Mide. Just sit quietly for a few moments. शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम